Adam and James in the morning on the Sunday morning for you guys. Thursday after late, yeah. So we've had a little change in our circumstances, but essentially the same thing going on here. We're going to talk more about the altitudes/spiral dynamics, but we're doing altitudes, but you can think of it as spiral dynamics model, and how it applies to everyday situations and scenarios and the sorts of things you would encounter in your day-to-day life or on YouTube. Now, James may be a little bit like me. I think we're going to find out. I think this may be true. When I travel, I like to have an adventure. Adventure means different things to different people. I like to have the kind of adventure that you pay money to get out of rather than paying money to get into. Yes. To me, adventure is inconvenience met with the human spirit. I knew that I had 27 hours of driving to get to my new home. And I had to decide what I'm taking with me, and I decided at a certain point it would probably be wisest to fill up my car with stuff and say, you don't get to bring anything else besides that, and that's everything you own. But I had my car pretty much stacked, stuffed tight with things in every possible place, so that if you needed to put a new thing in there, it was going to have to be like inserted between two things and wedged with a good amount of force that could potentially result in the item popping back out and creating a cascading avalanche of my items, my stuff on me, because the driver's side cockpit is the only thing in the car that's open. And visibility was quite limited, so I had to kind of take my mirrors and zoom them out so that I could get sort of a 360 view, which has the result that anyone anywhere near you is shining their lights directly in your eyes. Heading west, you're going into the sun. And when it's snowy, the snow reflects the sun and can cause a condition called snow blindness. Lots of light in the eyes. So this was the conditions, and I was 3 hours late, and I had my hotel booked in the northern United States at the halfway point. I had to arrive at that hotel. But what I realized when my car was completely packed and I was 3 hours late is that I didn't have my phone. It was out of bats because we tried calling it and we wandered all around and it wasn't anywhere. And I was like, oh, maybe we should just wait another day. But it's like, no, I already got the hotel. So I was like, okay, it's probably in the car because it sure isn't in the house. So I go in the car and I'm like trying to dig through my pyramid, and I managed to jam my finger into a shaving razor, and it just split it open in 4 different places because it was like one of those like multi-razors. And so then I'm gushing blood all over my stuff. So there's this nice little like, there's blood on everything I own now, is what I'm saying. It's all covered in blood and I can't wash it off. So I go in the house, I wash that, I put some sort of Band-Aid, because of course I've packed my Band-Aids, so it's like, Scotch tape and a Post-it note. And so it's still bleeding, I get in my car and I go.
One, was the theme to Tetris playing the entire time in your head while you're packing your car? That's number one. Number two, looking
I cleared
for your
half
phone
my shit. I got a Tetris and like half my shit disappeared.
During this time of looking for your phone, what sort of stage would you think you're in?
Well, gosh, I think the warrior spirit is red, just to like go. No, I'm getting there on time. I'm going now. Me, I don't care about the consequences, and it was selfish because some people were worried about me on this journey because I wasn't in contact with anyone. So I mean, yeah, red was kind of what made the decision. I think the Amber Meme travel planner is going to definitely have a map, have everything planned out. They're going to make a lot of phone calls. They're going to check the weather. Amber's really good at checking the weather. They always know the weather. They tell you that on the news stations that are all Amber Meme. Orange Meme, there was some orange to it. I did a lot of dipshitty things, which orange shouldn't do. Orange shouldn't have done a lot of the things that I did. More orange would have been to have thought ahead more, downsized my stuff more, like
prior to day of.
Yeah, and making those decisions, because until like 2 days before I moved, I thought I was going to do a U-Haul, so I wasn't even worried about that, and wasn't really worried about like selling stuff. I guess with our green meme there, we're just worrying about our fuel economy. We want to make sure we're not damaging the ozone as we travel across the country, and we don't want to stop at any Walmarts. We don't want to stop at the big chains. We want to get the We're going in our electric car. No. So yeah, peripheral concerns to the green meme. This was certainly not a second-tier adventure. Although here we are talking about it in the context of a second-tier adventure. So that's a kind of good overview of altitudes of travel planning, maybe, or travel intuitiveness. I feel like magenta's only traveling if it's being driven somewhere or being made to go somewhere. The harvest is moving. The season, the land before time is a magenta tale. They're following the tree stars. So there I'm cooking. It's later in the day, and this was a miracle because I was trying to get to this place before Christmas so that I could be there for Christmas. That was like just a loose plan that nobody was like waiting up for me. If it took 2 days, I would make it on Christmas Eve. Now, we're right by Canada here. We're in the northern United States. And if you imagine traveling the whole way from Michigan to the west, you'd kind of imagine it to suck, right? Like in North Dakota, right? No, it was dry. Yes. The temperature was like 35 Fahrenheit in general. There were packets of heavy fog, which was pretty bodacious. Hours of just like, if a goat comes out, we're dead. I'm not going to see a goat in this, but I'm also not going to drive at goat speeds. It looked icy, but it actually wasn't. I would like keep an eye on other people because I do not have like ice tires. I have like basic all seasons on a really crunk vehicle. So I slip around and my anti-skid system is broken. So just all the wrong stuff. The only real travails, there was a lot of wind and I had my bike mounted on the back on this. This piece of shit has brought my bike across the country multiple times with its rusty ass, like, can you believe this holds a bike to your car? No. It hangs off of these 2 bent pieces of metal. You clip those in, and then the weight of the bike holds it on. And as much as I might be selling you on that, it didn't hold on very well.
I mean, it sounds great.
With like no visibility, I can vaguely see around my car that I can see the tire and that it's going up and down wildly. I don't know what that means the rest of the bike was doing. So I pull over to the shoulder and everybody's just flying past. Of course, the place where this is happening is where there's heavy winds and it's ice on the ground. It's like sleeting. But I can see that my bike is twisting, like the handlebars are twisting and stuff. I had it super secure, but everything's just kind of worked a little looser. And so now it's floating around. And it probably just about fell off multiple times because this is hours and hours of this. So I pulled onto the shoulder about 4 different times. And I kept just trying to kind of tie it on tighter, but it was so damn cold. And all my warm stuff is like in the pyramid. So I've got like a lighter hoodie than this and like just, pants and no gloves. And I'm like running out behind my car at the side of the road, just like trying to tie stuff tighter, like push my icy bike in. Finally, I got an electric cable and just like double knotted the tire to the frame and it stayed on. So I got back in my car and like put the heat on full blast. So yeah, I mean, it's not even that great of a bike really. It's just I've had this bike like since I, originally lived here. 17 years, something like that. Jeez, that's an old bike. It's completely broken. It like completely broke because I left it out in the winter and I rode it and you couldn't like push it. It wouldn't go. So I was like, okay, my bike's broken. And I like walked it home and like put it away. And then a year later, I just hopped on it and went and it went. And I think the bearings like lost their lubricant or something. No idea, but it works now. Some vandal came into my home and stole the pins out. I don't know what you call the piece, but it's the piece that holds the tire to the frame. So they were gone, and I went and rode it around Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and I was like, oh, this is a little bit shaky. It could have fucking killed me. Some punk. But luckily at the bike shop, they stuck the thing right back in. Yeah, so that was cool.
While you're pulled over on the side of the road, somehow getting your bike affixed to the thing, do you feel any sort of way about the people buzzing past you and not changing lanes, or did you regress?
Nah, I was having a fun time. It was cold. I mean, yeah. I was cussing. It was a very orange meme kind of cussing, though. Just like, come on, beat it down. Is that, and I'm like, hey, whatever to the people. Like, they know I'm weird. Like, I hope they're not cops, because then they'll like come and be like, what are you doing? Yeah. No,
What are you doing?
I had a good attitude like the whole time. I got tired, and I just kind of like, I'm really good at, I could be a trucker. I'd be an awesome trucker. I'm really good at just staying awake through stuff. People hit that point when they're driving where it's sort of like hypnotizing them, and then you kind of like start, oh, okay, well, you're drifting off and you come back.
That takes me about an hour and a half.
Yeah. My point is so much further down.
Distance driving.
That happens to me like twice as long down, and that will start to happen. And when that's happening, I can straight up pull over, open my door, lay down on the ground and sleep. That's like how tired I am when that's happening. Mm-hmm. Which is how tired I was when I got here. But so I had to stay in the hotel in Fargo, and I think I got in there at like 2, and there was a super cool like night clerk. She's like, "Hey there, like, we got hot chocolate over there. You can use 2 packets in one hot chocolate. That's what I do. That's the best. I have like 10 of those a night. You can just keep coming down here and get more hot chocolate. Nobody's gonna stop you from doing that." She's like trying to hook me up. Yeah, it's a super cool lady in Fargo, North Dakota, which looks exactly like you'd think. It's just like flat, and there's like a wind of white stuff swirling around. People have the hats with the ears on them, and they talk exactly like that. Yeah. Except this girl didn't. Older people talk like that.
I will say that the Swiss Miss hot chocolate packets in a hotel makes for a fantastic lobby mocha. They have that garbage coffee that they leave out for decades on end.
So I hung out with her in the lobby a little bit, and I was kind of like, it was really late. Otherwise, I would have been like, well, shit, let's like hang out, because it was kind of getting to that point. And I was a little bit chafed, because even though it would have been impossible, I was upset that the pool and the hot tub were out of commission. Like, there's no way I could have used either of them. That they advertised that feature, and they didn't have it. I was wondering why it was so cheap. Maybe the rate went down with the hot tub not being there. Very disappointing. And so we had kind of like, we had hit it off, and she was trying, it was front loaded because I actually couldn't find the Microtel Inn & Suites by Wyndham, I think it was called, because there was another one with signage, and I went to that one. And so at that one, this happened a few times. They're like, oh, okay, so you're saying like, you don't know if you're booked here. Okay, it says you're not booked here. Well, are you sure you're booked here? I'm like, yeah, it was through Expedia. He's like, okay. Could you be booked at the other one? I'm like, okay. Well, I'm like, there's 2 places with the exact same name in Fargo. He's like, oh yeah, there's one in North Fargo. What the hell's North Fargo? I'm going west. That doesn't make sense. So, so he called this girl that I would later talk to, that like girl, young woman, night clerk, and they had the conversation, and he's like, hold on a sec. Yeah, we're just checking. Okay, he is in there. Okay, good. Yeah, now I don't know how to get over there. How do you get over there? No, we can't. He doesn't have it. I don't know, he just doesn't have a phone. He didn't bring it with him or something. No, I don't know. Yeah, no, you can't find maps anywhere. No, I thought... They've never dealt with somebody not having a phone before. This has never happened. And they're sitting there, they have to explain to the other person. It's like, age. Like, no, he doesn't have a phone at all. I don't know why, but he doesn't. There's no phone. You can't. Every solution where you use your phone, he can't do that because he doesn't have it with him. He doesn't need to charge it. He doesn't have one. Yeah, I think he has one.
Charge it, right? He might have one.
I sit here and watch this conversation happen multiple times because I also got lost outside of Chicago, like in some like Pendleton or something, like some suburb of Chicago, which is like such a nightmare because the freeway like kind of corrals you to an exit. And if you're not paying attention to the signs, you don't know whether you're on the exit or the main vein. And so I got on the exit and I went to like a random place and I didn't know how to get back or like where I would go once I got back. And I didn't have a phone. I just didn't have it. So I couldn't put it in.
Did you need to charge it or?
You go to the gas station. They're like, well, do you have a phone, right? Yeah, but do you guys have maps? Do you know where I can find a map in a town? And they're like, yeah, well, just look up maps on maps. I don't have Google Maps. That's why I need a map. I can't look up where to find a map on Google Maps. I tried a sporting goods store. I tried gas stations. Where do you get a map? You get like a road atlas. I found out that rest stops have free maps a lot of the time. So that is the answer that I didn't know. But I did have to ask like people, like, so let's say I'm just heading west. I'm just trying to get on like I-90, I-94, something like that. Oh, okay, yeah. I think that goes west. Yeah, so say I'm going out of this suburb here. Oh, okay, well, I don't go out of the suburb. I don't know what's out there. Ma'am, the planet Earth is very large.
They don't know.
They're like, seriously? Like, wait, so you've never been into Chicago? No, I live here. This is where I live. This is my home. I have to assume her house is like 3 blocks away, and this was the house where her grandparents grew up. It's really crazy. The Midwest. I'm done with the Midwest. If I could characterize the entire Midwest offensively, it would be
careful. Cool, you choose your next words wisely.
Nice people who have checked out. They're finished with this whole experience thing, and they just want a soft landing. The strat is you get a nice little spread over by the lake. You dig a hole, nice big hole. You lay down in it, and you roll the dirt over you, and everything turns out fine. Pure Michigan.
Can't disagree. The average ambition height is to just like die comfortably.
Yeah, there's all these different characters, but apathy is like the common thread, like having given up on
it's like an
morality
average.
And just like everything like idealistic. It's like the most non-idealistic play.
They don't expect anything from you.
Yeah, exactly. So in Fargo, I make it to the hotel. It's super late, and one of the coolest things ever happened. It's like a bucket list thing. I was at a hotel and I woke up and there was a handwritten note slid under the door.
Okay.
So like homegirl had come to hang out and I didn't answer the door because I was dead. And that was the morning that I called you to not podcast because it would have been impossible, but we hung out anyways in the hotel. And she had told me that like a bunch of people were like calling all around everywhere, like looking for me. And I was like, okay, like there's nothing I can do. All I have is like the internet that I have here and Facebook. So I have to tell people
and the hotel phone.
Yeah, so I can make calls here and then I'm done. And I don't know anyone's phone number, etc. So I'm pretty much Facebook Messenger and plus, So like I let people know I was coming. I let people who were looking for me know that I'm like doing okay, but it's like getting crazy and I don't have my phone and I don't know where it is. Because at that point I thought it was still in my car. The rest of the way west was easy because there's nothing else. There's just the road and the plains, and you're just going a straight line over a flat plain. Like you go up and then you're in like western Montana and it's like, okay, well there's elevation and man, elevation. So echoing the apathy and lack of engagement in the Midwest, it's very flat. There's no elevation and there's very little color because it's like the same plants grow everywhere. So it's like kind of like this unicolor flat. And I didn't realize like how much that harms my psychology, but it was specifically Bismarck, North Dakota, the college town. You start seeing the slopes. You start seeing a difference in elevation, and you start seeing darker trees. And all of a sudden, like my heart, I'm like happier just because there's an intrinsic beauty to like changes in elevation. It's just one more dimension to the planet's surface. It's like flat is just boring. Like okay, you go to the beach, that's fun for a day or two, but then it's just flat, and the waves are cool because it's changing, and the colors are different because things at different heights can like grow different, and it's just better. Human beings should live on elevations or in hot places. So that's when it starts looking acceptable. Right at Bismarck is when the world starts looking okay. An amazing thing happened where I was getting gas, and I like got like sticky buns or some nonsense to keep me alive for another hour and a half. I might have gotten actual gas station hot dogs with all the fixins, but I go up to the counter and there's like one of them has like curly red hair and like a tiny hat, and the other one's like a super old guy, and they're like chuckling around. They like throw my shit down and like make fun of me, and I'm like, I'm in Montana, aren't I? And I was correct. That was the first town in Montana. This is a thing. In Montana, everyone in Montana, except for like the rednecks that are the same everywhere you go, everyone in Montana has this weird attitude where they're just like not serious. Like they're always messing with you. It's like always a big gag. You know what I mean. And right over the state line, it's like the moment you get to Mexico, it looks like Mexico. It is Mexico, so it's exactly like Mexico is. This is how Montana is. So yeah, Montana's pure Montana. Michigan's pure Michigan. Keep Montana MT, please. Just kidding. I love the people thing here. It's bigger. Everything's so like stacked into the valley. It's beautiful, and the people are really fun. They wear a lot of the same color. They wear a lot of similarly colorless clothing, little hats, little accessories, little things dangling down. You know, it's very suburb of a city. It's like thousands of miles off suburb of a city, which is kind of how every nice place to be is going to be in very soon.
What sort of altitude?
So like, yeah, red meme goofs around, but usually in a like predatory way, like Jackass, you know, like it's you're kind of making fun of the other person by making fun of yourself.
There's a victim here.
Bully-ish, you know, it's making fun of. Amber meme just has like terrible sense of humor. Just kidding. You're looking at your Jeff Foxworthy, maybe. I don't know. Orange meme would do their damn job correct. Yeah, Orange and Amber are just there to do their work, you know, and they're kind of checked out.
Damn job.
Yeah. So they're not going to put that extra. So yeah, I think this is green meme irony we're seeing in Montana as like a kind of pervading trait. You get a lot of eco granola nerds, I think, that brings in that green, you know, the ski crowd. And it's not all like people riding horses and stuff like they are people riding horses, but they're like rich people riding horses because people like come here to settle down or come, you know, to the western part of Montana to settle down, I suppose. I was thinking a fun lightning round would be hillbilly versus redneck, because that was a dichotomy. I've been watching football, and it's the same thing. It's like, wait, do you really don't like the other team? I mean, they're the same thing. They're just athletes that went to college and got really good. Like, you hate those guys because they're trying to score points against these guys? Oh, yeah, I'll rip their heads off. What if these guys start winning? And what if two teams you like are against each other? Oh, I like that team better. Like, okay. Yeah, it's arbitrary. It's just your identity is extended to your group. Patriotism, nationalism, group identity, religion. To whatever extent you are a member of a thing or identify with a thing. There was a big cut out there, so I just kind of rambled on. It's almost like the hillbilly is like lower level but healthier, and the redneck is like higher level but way unhealthier. More in both cases there's a sort of bigotry for sure, you know, an exclusivity and like you have to. In both cases they will embrace otherness, but it has to be like grandfathered in a little bit. Like it takes a while to, like, you can get old great uncle Randy to accept a black into the family. It'll take him a while to get used to the idea, but it's amendable. It'll happen. Because, I mean, Amber is, like, fundamentally conditionable through the family system or through the, you know, as diversity is intrinsically brought into the clan, you kind of have no choice but to allow it. So this is sort of the successful remediation of bigotry in the lower levels, just because, like, as we get more enmeshed together, that this diversity becomes so inevitable that it's clearly right now exposing that bigotry in like ways that make it look a lot bigger than it really is, I think. You know, people have attitudes about something. Like, how does that really come out there in the real world? There's every stupid person alive has their stupid thoughts, and they can broadcast them. Like, are we to assume that there aren't stupid people in the world? It's just that they can talk about it now. And, you know, they don't even care to, really. They're being asked to. It's like there's the platform is there, and it requires your participation for full social acumen. Pacific Northwest, and in particular, like these college towns, like the attitude is so refreshing. Like, hi, I'm excited to meet you because you're a person I don't know. What the hell is this? You're not from around here, are you? You seem different than all the agitated, passionless individuals I associate with. that grew up in the same town as me. So I get into Montana. I am into Montana. By the time that I arrive in my town, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I knew that I didn't know where the location I was going to is particularly. I've been to it once or twice in the summer, but never in the dead of winter, at night, in the dead of night. So that took an extra 2 hours to find. And I had half a mind to just like snuggle beside my car because it really wasn't that cold. And there were blankets like dislodged by this point. Oh man. Yeah, by this point, because I had to access things in order to accomplish things, like half of the car was like spilled out onto my lap for several hours. Like I had to disembark from the car with like bail out things from myself. And these are my most prized possessions that I could not stand to part with. I managed to find my new home at about 4 a.m. I didn't want to disturb anyone. And I was tired. So I just like came into this shop that didn't have the heat on, collapsed on the floor on a tarp with my stuffed animal underneath my head. And the full moon was coming in through the window behind that door, shining on my face. I cried and cried. No idea why. It was just cool to be done with that. And it was a beautiful moment. And I crashed out for probably 2 hours. And, and then I was woken up and my eyes were swollen shut. They were both like bugging out of my head. I should have taken a picture. It was really ridiculous. I don't know what caused that. So I found out, I get on my computer and everyone's like, oh my God, like we thought this and that. Like you didn't show up here. You didn't. Yeah. And it turns out that my phone was on the porch at my old house. I just somehow it was out on the porch with no battery. I don't remember being out on the porch with it. I remember checking my messages at one point and then being like, all right, mess. And I just like kind of throw it to the side. I guess that was on the porch. And somehow I didn't see this as I moved in and out of the house over and over. So I got somebody like FedExing my phone to me. Until then, I'm pretty worthless. I've been here about a week.
You're full of worth.
Yeah. You just
can't look up maps on maps.
So this is the situation, and it's really cool to get to do this episode right here. Because we're going to transform this area into probably a better podcasting situation, so that'll be fun to develop that. It was like 4 hours of sleep, heavy work, 13 and a half hours of driving, 2 hours of sleep, work, 13 and a half hours of driving, 2 hours of sleep. Then I was here on whatever the hell that all means. And amazingly, I didn't like have like back spasms. Like I don't know. I'm really good at the cross country hauls. I love the adventure of it. That's what an adventure is to me. There's some hardship and some complication. You get lost in a strange place. It's an opportunity. I got to meet a young woman at line in Starbucks, and she mapped it in so that I could write down the directions to where I was to get back on the freeway. I like doing that. I would have preferred to have done it like properly and had it be comfortable, and I could have like talked to people on my phone during the drive. Like definitely would have been preferable because I'm doing the thing. I don't know if my antenna's janky on my car or something, but like as I'm driving cross country, the radio is always like half in, half out. So it was totally psychotic because I had it way pumped up. It would be like playing jazz, and then be like, and then there's just like a half hour of static until I notice it and change the station. Oh, but we made it, and it's so much cooler here, and I already have a job, and a couple of jobs in tow. Whew, yeah, it's been super cold around here, because I finally got my clothes unpacked. Now I can like actually wear warmer stuff, but yeah, for a minute there it was pretty bad. Adventure and travel spiral dynamics. I think there's like sort of an element of green meme, like irony, existentialism to the idea of like self-sabotaging to make adventure. Because I've talked about this a lot over the years with lots of people. Like clearly it's a pattern in me that I like under prepare for trips because I find it on some level more fun, or it's like more of a challenge, I guess. Like if it's all structured out, it kind of becomes work to me. Like if your trip is all perfectly planned out, it's like, oh, now, okay, schedule says we got to be at the restaurant. Like I'm not really ready. I kind of just want to like eat a lemon bar. Like
you demonstrated that with booking a hotel halfway through. Mm-hmm. Instead of just going and then finding a hotel when you felt like you needed a hotel.
Oh gosh, yeah. That to me would be more scary because like I just don't know. I like how to Well, I would have needed my phone, damn it. You mean just like walk into a place and be like, hey, you got any vacancies? You know anybody around here?
Do you have any rooms? Nope. Well, looks like we're going a couple more exits.
No, I'm jealous. I should have done that, actually. I like that better. I didn't have the courage. Because, yeah, booking that hotel was a pain in the... If I hadn't done that, it would have given me a lot more flexibility. I probably would have taken 3 days and wandered around a little more. But also, at any point my car could have broken down or the weather could have gotten worse. So I was really pushing it because I knew the weather was really good. It was totally a Christmas miracle that the weather was as good as it was. If I were to imagine any of these places at the winter solstice, I would imagine them having heavy, heavy snow and lots of ice on the roads. And they didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Which is good because my car is not prepared for any of that, especially fully loaded. So I think, yeah, there's a hint of that green meme kind of like in that, a hint of orange amber in those who like over prep their travel. There's that thing where people travel and the whole experience is stressful. It's like they're just trying to get pictures that they can post on social media. Like it's just this currency thing that they're like, okay, what can I get out of this travel? The experience itself is what people used to do. That's what you need. That's why you do travel. If that's something that if you get anything out of traveling, I know some people don't. Yeah. Again, with the green meme, right on the road, all the whole like all hitchhiking. It's a whole different world now, but that culture definitely still exists, mostly around drug culture and music culture. Seems to kind of keep it all hanging together in the balance. Yeah, I live right on the river, and I hope to do yoga videos now on the river because that's a thing. So I think kind of as the world second tierifies, like the idea of where you live kind of gets bigger. Like the actual idea of like where you live, where you work, where you do anything kind of gets bigger and bigger as you go up through the stages. Even just good old orange meme is sort of a sense that I occupy this planet. This is my world. As an individual, I have an equal say in what happens here. But at Teal, like we actually have this infrastructure, right? Like so we can communicate long distances, move long distances pretty easily. And so it's almost like, this is the whole like remote work revolution and everything is like, actually, it doesn't really matter where you are because you're kind of everywhere in second tier world. And I'm trying to embrace that more and more, like being a place is kind of for the birds, really, like working a place, living a place, like identifying a place as home. It's limiting.
Get out of your hometown.
Yeah.
Maybe not permanently, but try something else for like a year.
Move somewhere.
Get away from this,
yeah.
The safety net support network.
Go work in Alaska or something. Yeah, just go on
if
adventure.
It fails,
yeah,
you go back. But what if it succeeds and you're a stronger person?
And even if it succeeds, you can go back. Yeah, you can always go back.
You can still go back.
Yeah.
This isn't Goonies. I'm not taking my wish back. You can go back.
Yep. As Tealified Seattle, Tealified West Coast, everyone moves away because it's like more economical to not live there, even though you are there.
All right. Well, that's traveling while regressing and progressing through stages, and I hope there was something in there for everyone. I know I enjoyed it.
While masturbating.